Hey, how's it going? The name's Monarch 6060, coming at you from the west coast of the United States. I'm not actually British, just like doing the accents. You should check out my other videos to see the accents. Plug! Shameless plug. Okay, let's move it on then. I'm responding to the guy. Don't know who he is, but he was talking about Star Trek versus Star Wars. So I think it's now time to show you my opinion. I just love the bit when Worf hits the Borg. It's just awesome. Anyways then, let's do it, shall we? Let's talk about the old Star Wars versus Star Trek. And if you hadn't already guessed, Star Trek is the best.
Space, the final frontier.
So, let's talk about Trek. We have Gene the man, Gene Roddenberry, the guy who came up with Trek in the first place. Not only did he have, things about sexual and racial equality, he managed to pack in a nice bit of action, a bit of fisticuffs with big old Kirk. Classic. And even after he dies, it still continues, to a certain extent, but those qualities are still within his other shows, even though he wasn't actually involved with them. Now I have to make a slight confession. I think the 60s Trek is best forgotten. It may be the beginning, but it is certainly the oldest and has not aged particularly well, but I am keen to see the remastered ones. Next gen, good, I grew up with that. Painfully slow in places, and if Troy comes up with any more "I'm sensing a powerful mind," I will have to slap her. Yeah, really slap her. DS9 is the best. If you're a Star Wars fan, just watch season 6 and 7 of DS9, and it will make Star Wars look, as the guy says, shallow. So painfully shallow. Dukat is the best written bad guy. And Weyoon, just the best. You need to check that out. Voyager's good, but I think it catered to the sort of 90s. Oh, we've got to have fun, and oh, look at all these explosions, and oh, look at this attractive woman we've managed to squeeze into this suit. But all in all, pretty good. Enterprise being the newest, such a shame that it was cancelled. Tragic, but classic. It is really good. Probably the most action you'll ever see a Star Trek episode, and they still have their fair share of important racial and sexual equality episodes. Movies, on the other hand, pretty good all round, with the exception of 1 and 5. Horror show. Actually, 5 is the biggest horror show, but 1 isn't exactly that much better. And finally, the other side of the argument, the Star Wars. I own the original Star Wars movie, and unfortunately the first one, or technically episode 1, we'll come back to those. The first 3 though, the originals, not bad, but they are basically kids' entertainment. I think they are definitely shallow, as the guy says, but mainly for kids. Lots of explosions, typical, oh look, I'm a bad guy, and oh look, I'm a good guy. That's it, there's no grey in between, there's nothing, it's just clear cuts, down the centre. And the fact that Darth actually joins the Force, or the good side at the end, I think that's just disgraceful. A couple of other things, 2 things that really annoy me. If I hear Princess Leia say one more time, "Somebody's got to save our skins," she's going to get a damn good slapping, even a bigger slapping than Troy. And that's saying something. And the Emperor. Emperor's cool. But he says, "I've a legion of my best troopers." Legion of my best troopers, yeah? Yet they all get beaten by a bunch of knee-high teddy bears. Work that one out. And as for the other 3 new ones, I think the 3rd one was probably the best one out of all of them. The first one was a horror show, especially with Jar Jar. God, Jar Jar. Actually, forget what I said about Leia and Troy. Jar Jar needs a damn good smacking with a spade or a chainsaw. I'll just run him over with a steamroller, whichever's more horrible. But number 2, don't really remember. Number 3, don't really remember. They're just pretty forgettable. So that's my views. Okay, well, in summary then, Star Trek yes, Star Wars no. Mainly for these reasons. Star Trek looks at the social problems that we have in the world, tackles them, but doesn't talk to you like you're a 5-year-old. It has excellent space battles, everyone loves the space battles, good acting on the whole, and generally holds up well by today's standards, with maybe the exception of the original series. Whereas Star Wars, I mean, it's basically a kids set of movies. Yes, they've got their explosions and everything, but everything is all very fantasy, whereas at least Star Trek, you can believe in those things, you know, lightsabers. Yeah, they may look great on screen, but it's all fake. It's basically, it's more like Lord of the Rings than it is like Star Trek. Yep, so there's my thoughts. You've had my 2 pence worth. Do you feel better? Have a nice day.